Greetings folks, welcome to the video for the first Black Metal and Brews monthly playlist, a service funded in part by my supporters at Patreon. I believe this was actually just for the $10 a month tier, and with that now as a public feature, whether or not you're a Patreon supporter, you can visit my Patreon channel every month around the 15th of the month to see a fun video, which leads into a playlist of 10 other videos of songs I've been listening to during the prior month. Today, starting off, we've got a playlist based in part on February's MWE exercise, which was that was a redundant phrase, that was like ATM machine. Music writing exercise. Every day in February, music writers were challenged to listen to an album we'd never heard before, and then make a single tweet about it. It was an exercise in brevity, trying new things, and just, focus. It was a really fun thing to do, and I learned a lot of great music from it. So in the spirit of MWE, I thought I'd share 10 of the more interesting picks from it, although not necessarily the 10 best ones, not the only 10 I liked. Some things I liked, some things I didn't like, some things I loved. Starting it off here, I've got a list to my right here to make this a little easier. We've got the song number 5 from Erebon Radar's Soak the Saddle album. It's just noisy, tense, chaotic, just swirling, spiraling, experimental hardcore, much like the sort of stuff that you'd imagine inspiring the first Daughters LP, Canada songs, or even a similar sort of sound to earlier stuff from The Locust. Don't know how on earth I hadn't heard it. I'd heard a lot about these guys. Very predatory spoken and slash kind of snarled approach to the vocals. Really fun. Can't believe I hadn't heard it before. It's a great song starting this off. After that, we've got a song by Billy Woods from the album History Will Absolve Me. The song is called Freedman's Bureau. Just from deliberate, really clever cut and paste sort of hip hop from an immigrant, Jamaican immigrant living in New York. It was recommended to me from Zachary Lipez from Publicist UK, recommended it to me, and one of the ones I found myself revisiting a few times during the month, as it was an earlier feature in the month for me on MWE. The whole album is great. Picking one song was a challenge, but that's a song that stuck with me. A little slower, but good. Sorry, you can hear Jareth, my cat, singing in the background. She is not featured in this playlist, although she has a lot to say about it. She doesn't like that song. Following Billy Woods, we got a classic that somehow I hadn't come across. Although I found I did know the song, I didn't know the album, from Toots and the Maytals' song Pressure Drop from their album Funky Kingston. It's a classic early ska recording from the late 60s. Very catchy, very positive sounding song, but what little lyrical content there is kind of a song of looking for someone who's done wrong to get their comeuppance. Just a fun, good feeling song, and I couldn't help but like it. The whole album's just got a great soulful feeling. Really, really into it. I'm not into a lot of reggae and ska type music, but I feel like I can branch out nicely from there. Following that is one that I really wasn't sure if I would like. But at the suggestion and after a brief conversation with my friend Jonathan Dick, who runs the Steel for Brains website, I decided to give Rush's album Moving Pictures a thorough listen for MWE. Found myself really intrigued by the album. It wasn't as nerdy as I would imagine. For some reason I expected it to be more like Dream Theater or something obnoxious. It's not. It was really palatable, still radio-ready, catchy, hooky rock. The closing track, Vital Signs, is what I've selected for this playlist. Fantastic. Another earworm type song for me, just kind of a song about upgrading technologically in a way, I guess, but also, going against trends. He consistently says everybody's got to deviate from the norm. Great song, can't get enough of it, and I'll probably be examining more Rush because of this, so I'm on my way to dad rock status. Thank you, Jonathan. Next after that is the song Beaten by Sutcliffe Hugand from their album, I always forget the name, With Extreme Prejudice. These noise legends, power electronics legends, are an offshoot of White House. I was familiar with Sutcliffe Hugand's album When Pornography Is Not Enough, as well as their more recent work, Blue Rabbit, but I hadn't heard this yet, and just fantastic terrifying sounds, like a city on fire, just everything burning to the ground. Horrific, challenging. I'm going to pause this for just a moment. And we're back. Sorry about the pause. My cat was doing something destructive. Anyway, Sutcliffe Hugens with Extreme Prejudice album is very, very much an instrumental-heavy album. When there is spoken word, it's very predatory, very unsettling. I'll admit, some of the lyrical content even left me quite uncomfortable, but this song I found just very evocative, as many of the others on the album were. Sutcliffe Hugens is meant to disturb, and it was successful even for me, and it's not necessarily more sonically aggressive than a lot of noise and power electronics I've heard, but it absolutely had an intensity in it, just a creep factor that was through the roof. Following that, decided to kind of mellow things out a bit, although anything would be mellow in comparison, with a song by, oh, she's got something again. Be right back. Sorry guys, this is the first time I've ever had to pause the video and get back to it. My new place, I can't see the kitchen, I can only hear what she's doing in there. Anyway, following the chaos of Sutcliffe Hugens' Tuxedo Moon's song, What Use? From the album Half Mute. I had been intrigued by the artist, having come across a couple of their tracks on Last.fm back in the day, only to find out this was a Ralph Records release, home of the Residents, and needless to say, I'm a huge fan of the Residents. Their bizarre, fun experimentation does well for me. And Tuxedo Moon's album was a kind of funky, post-punky, minimal but maximal ×2 sort of release. Hard to put a finger on, but just very fun for me, but very weird, bizarre sort of break, meandering, experimental, very worth hearing. I believe the group still exists in some bizarre form, so worth a look. Tuxedo Moon, one word. Following that, another song I didn't think I'd like, but in the spirit of experimentation, I had to give it a shot. I had never listened to a Metallica album through start to finish, and I gave Ride the Lightning a chance. And while it didn't make me a huge fan, a few tracks really did stand out as great songs. I've chosen the title track here as it's just so catchy. It gets stuck in your head within moments of hearing the chorus for the first time and doesn't go away. Don't know if I'll suddenly be getting a Metallica tattoo as many of my friends from back in the day have, but, better band than I've given them credit for. James Hetfield still is a pretty mediocre singer in my opinion, but it's okay. We can't do everything. Following that, another one, a very popular group that I'd kind of had some issues with, gave it another shot, Death Grips, from their album The Money Store, picked the song The Cage. The Cage was a little slower than some of the rest of the songs on the album, very kind of glitchy, vaporwave sort of, almost, what is that song? I don't even know the name of the genre. That 8-bit sort of music, chiptunes, sort of beats, very aggressive, urgent, with violently delivered raps from MC Ride, their frontman. I thought the song was really good. The beat was really catchy, and I like seeing any genre turned on its head. Hip hop and rap are genres I don't know as well, but I thought Death Grips did a really fun job with this one. So I liked this album. I'll give it another chance. Anyway, 2 more songs to round out this list. We have Yellow Magic Orchestra and their song Simoon from the self-titled album. Very fantastical sort of Japanese psychedelic experimentation. Beautiful stuff from, I believe, the early 80s, 1980 maybe. Clearly a huge influence on Nobuo Uematsu, composer of all the Final Fantasy music, and I'm a huge video game nerd, so it sits really well with me. It's got that sort of carnival-y, bouncy feel. Made me think of songs in Final Fantasy VII soundtrack. Really cool, really fun. Closing things off with kind of a nod to my metalcore days of high school, we've got a song by the band Botch, who I somehow managed to never hear when I was obsessed with the Dillinger Escape Plan and Norma Jean back when I was 15 years old. We've got Botch's song, C. Thomas Howell is the Soul Man from We Are the Romans. Massive, swelling, progressive hardcore, metalcore song. Passionate vocals, like a little bit of everything. That start-stop dynamic, crisp production, but an urgency and rawness that is lacking from a lot of other music. In all, this playlist is kind of off the wall, across the board. But I urge you to listen start to finish and see if you find something new that you'll enjoy, much like I did with MWE. I listened to plenty of albums by other artists, heard great things during MWE from like Fela Kuti, Necro Deathmort, Legendary Pink Dots, all sorts of artists whose names I'd heard and never given a chance, and it was really healthy for me, really fun, really illuminating. I hope that if even one thing in this list is new to you, pick that one thing and listen to it. You might just find your new favorite band is that band you'd never given a chance. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon.